Mach 60 comes in a very special small nozzle, just like Timbre and Westone and Shure. So the narrow nozzle also means that the ear tips are very thick, thicker than most other normal IEM, which many of us are so very familiar with. So what it means is that with the variety of tips being given by Westone with this Mach 60, you can have several options. But the one that I like the most is of course the foam tips, which is what I'm using now. And I am loving it because first and foremost, it is exceedingly super comfortable. This is one of the few IEM that will allow me to wear my IEM for more than 6 hours. And in fact, in a very recent trip, in a very long flight, 13 hours flight, I was literally wearing this Mach 60 for 13 hours without any hint of discomfort or anything like that. And the best part is that being small nozzle with the kind of ear tip that seals really well, the seal factor is amazingly good. I would even dare say that it is even better than something like active noise cancellation. You see here, the cable here, this Linam Super-Bucks cable has been designed to be like really thin. And one of the reasons for that is that it is intended to be kind of a bit discreet. So once you start wearing this IEM, you're gonna forget that you are wearing it. That is very impressive. And that is one of the few things which make me really like this Mach 60. Because unlike some other IEM which I have in my collection, I tend to feel the weight of the cable, but not this one. So I would say on the wear factor, on the ergonomic, this Mach 60 is super excellent. It has been 2 months now since I received this Westone Mach 60. And to be honest, from the first time when I listened to it, I wasn't really like wow by it, because this is one of those few IEM which require a bit of time to appreciate. Something which remind me a lot to this Sennheiser HD600 here, or even something like my all-time favorite, if you're familiar with my channel, that I listen a lot to this Sivga Nightingale here, magnetic planar. And pretty much similar to Sivga Nightingale, it took quite a bit of time for me to appreciate the kind of quality, sound and performance offered by this Mach 60. Because first and foremost, it is definitely not the most technical sounding, not the most resolving, or not the most mind-blowingly amazing with resolution. If I were to compare with some other $1,000 and above IEM, something like FIO FA19 or even T Audio Monarch Mark II. But this is perhaps one of the most accurate sounding when it comes to timbre and tonality. It is kind of a bit surprising, because considering that this is 6 balanced armature inside on each side, it is not even a dynamic driver. But the one that I really like about this Mach 60 is that how it presents the tonality, the accuracy of the tonality, handling every type of music, anything from classical, rock, metal, electronic music, and even instrumental. If you're familiar with Sennheiser HD600, which has already existed for like over 25 years now, one of the reasons that people love Sennheiser HD600, who can appreciate it, is that because it is always neutral and natural. With the tonality of the music, of the sound itself, it is definitely uncolored. And I can say the same thing for this Mach 60 here, because I am getting the same kind of experience, same kind of sensation, and pretty much similar in many ways as compared to my favorite here, which is Sivga Nightingale. Both of them are very natural, analog and organic sounding. Despite this being a magnetic planar, this being all balanced armature. What I'm hearing is that the kind of sound which is organic, smooth, musical, and yet it offers ample amount of technicalities when it comes to resolution. It was able to resolve practically anything without doing any kind of overemphasis on the macro and the micro detail itself. It never end up sounding sharp. It never edgy or anything like that, because if you're familiar with balanced armature, especially if you're familiar with something like Timbre ER4 series, the kind of resolution which is super clinical and surgical, But this thing is definitely not clinical and surgical at all. And on top of it, it was super easy to drive, especially considering that the impedance rating is at around over 35, I think, and sensitivity at around 100 dB. I was able to drive it properly using my Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV here, a phone, not very powerful source. I was able to use it for casual listening to a point that I would consider as musically entertaining. But yes, of course, it scales really well with power, especially when I attach it to something like this iBasso DX340, or even at the very minimum, I attach it to Venture Electronic Devastator. The kind of sound, once properly scaled up with power, with the kind of, excellent resolution, then I get a proper balance of being very analytical. For example, I have been using this listening a lot to DSD 512 1-bit, especially from Aisha Aziz. She have a lot of songs, collection of songs, which is super amazing, super sweet sounding. And the kind of immersion factor which I get from this Mark 60 is just simply mesmerizing. It is pretty much similar to the kind of experience when I use this Sivga Nightingale here. Both of them, first and foremost, smooth sounding, analog, and musical. But this does offer a bit more of air to the transient of the decay itself, because being a magnetic planar, it does seem to be airy. And this one sounded a bit crisper, meaning to say that it offers a bit more of micro resolution in the upper frequency, in the upper mid-range, and even in the lower frequency, it offers a bit more of extension to the sub-bass. The mid-bass is fast, tidy, punchy, and does not sound artificial at all. It has proper depth to it, the kind of mid-bass performance which is even so very suitable for rock and metal music. Being a multiple balance amateur, 6 of them inside with passive crossover, you can expect this Mark 60 to be very holographic as well, and wide and open sounding, despite being a deep insert IEM. Simply put, after using this Mark 60 regularly every day, on daily basis, alongside my favorite Sivga Nightingale here, it is safe for me to say, I would just simply openly declare that this is my new favorite, my new rotation IEM, alongside Sivga Nightingale, Heidis MP145, and also Lecture S12 2024. Why? Because it is so very easy to wear, it is super comfortable. I was able to wear it literally full day, no issue at all. I love the comfort, I love the seal factor, and most importantly, I love the immersion factor that it offers. Pretty much similar to Sivga Nightingale. And I would just simply say that it is not easy to find that kind of IEM in the market. Yes, of course, from the get-go, I wasn't wowed by it. But this is an IEM which grows into you the most time you spend onto it. So, would I recommend this? Absolutely. If you like what you're hearing, what you're seeing, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And also, please take a moment to click like here. It will really help me out. It is free, by the way. And also, please follow me on Instagram, which I have set up very recently. My Instagram will be a platform for me to provide quick updates on the things that I do beyond this video. And again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.